All right, so welcome everybody. So we're going to come and lay on our mats. And for today, I'd love for you to have a dowel if you have one, a brick. If you don't have a dowel, you can use a strap or a scarf or just something that you can kind of pull on. We'll just work with that a little bit. It doesn't have to be the dowel. And just have that stuff kind of around you so that we can have it when we're ready. But we can start in constructive rest pose. So laying on the back with the feet on the floor, knees bent. And get settled, get comfortable. So see what that means for you today. You might want to add on to this shape. You might want to have a blanket or an eye bag on, or you might want to be in a completely different shape, which is totally okay. We'll just take a few moments to get centered. So you can start to tap into your breath if you haven't already. It's nice to start with a few sighs. And one way that I like to kind of zoom in a little bit or slow down a little bit with the breath is to inhale completely. And then on the exhale, just kind of relax the body. So there's this feeling of allowing the exhale to leave your body without doing anything too specific. It's just like your whole body just isn't having any effort. So the exhale naturally wants to come out. So just something to experiment with if you'd like, see if it works for you. And taking just as many of those as you want, eventually starting to come to a natural breath, which is sort of even and maybe a little deeper than you might normally be doing, but it doesn't have to be anything too specific. Just kind of becoming aware of your breath and seeing if you can kind of release any tension that's on the surface. It's easy to release here. And just taking a moment to really feel the ground, the earth beneath your body. Your relationship to the land that you're practicing on. And how your body is in relationship with that ground. So you might notice, for example, which parts of your body are touching the earth, which are not. We're going to give a little bit of focus to the neck and shoulders at the beginning of our practice here today. So just notice what your shoulders are doing. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're holding tension there, and we could relax just a millimeter more. Notice your neck and the shape of your head. So sometimes we tilt the head in kind of a funny way. So maybe you could nod your head or shake from side to side a little and just see where is the place that actually feels most easeful for your neck to rest. For me, that's often just tipping the chin up slightly more. And notice if that has an effect on your shoulders. Okay, and then from here, let's press the shoulders actively down into the earth and slide them down away from the ears. And then tuck the chin in so you feel the back of your head sliding away a little bit, get a bit of a double chin there. So you might already feel a bit of a stretch in your neck. And then roll your head over to the left side. And you may feel a little bit of a stretch in the neck there. Okay, come back through center. Relax shoulders, neck. Chin might tip up a little. Take a breath. And then again, press your shoulders down into the mat, slide them away from your ears, and then tuck the chin in. So the back of the head slides up away. And then hold that and roll your head to the right. Come back through center and relax. Again, just let the shoulders drop, let the chin tip up, take a breath. Beautiful. Okay, let's do a little neck massage. So if you have one of your bricks, these are ideal. So they're the foam bricks, so they're not too hard. They're not the wooden ones. And you're just going to take one hand to the back of your head, lift it up, and then the brick goes behind the back of the head so that the edge of it is right at the hairline. And then you're going to tip the block in a little bit so that that corner at the hairline really digs in to that spot in between your spine and your skull. Okay, there's sort of a little dip there. You can keep a hold of the block with your hands and just gently roll from side to side. Okay, if you do not have a block, you can do this with a dowel. Just taking it around behind the back of your neck, holding it with your hands and just nudging the dowel into that little spot. Some people prefer this one. I actually prefer the block personally. If you do not have any of those props, you can just take your own hands and just run them up along either side of the spine and just dig the fingertips into that spot just behind the back of the skull, the occipital ridge there. Okay, and then you can slowly, gently roll your head if you wish from side to side. You might not need to. It's like a pressure massage, so you're just relaxing into it, and there's not really that much effort anywhere. I'm holding the block with my hands. You don't have to. I just find I can trust it a little more and kind of relax my neck a bit more if I'm holding the block. Just nice deep breaths and maybe noticing your face too. So sometimes when I work in this area, I can feel like my eyebrows or my jaw. Just noticing how these muscles might refer to other places in your body. And I'll just mention this because this is the commonest thing that I sort of see when I'm teaching this one in class. I just want you to be aware that the skin of your neck, okay, if you're using the block, there's no block on the skin of your neck, okay? There's a little bit of block in your hair. So a lot of the time I see people tipping the block the other way. It's not that that's wrong. It's just that you get a way better massage when you have the block. The direction of the block is sort of in and up towards the top of your head, if that's helpful. So maybe just try and readjust if you're noticing that you're feeling a massage kind of on the bone, the vertebrae of your neck. You want it really just in the sort of gap between skull and spine. And this can be really helpful if you get tension headaches. Some people find this quite helpful for migraines, especially doing it like maybe once or twice a week. You don't want to do it every day, but just a couple times a week. Sometimes if there's some fascia in this area that's kind of bundled up, it can cause headaches. So just something good to know if you do get migraines, maybe worth a try. I'm going to take another couple of breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can hold your head with one hand, slide the prop out, and gently release down onto your back, and just taking a moment to feel that. If there's some movement that you want to take here, like rocking your head from side to side, you're welcome to. And let's take that little neck stretch one more time. So just coming through center, press the shoulders down into the ground, slide them away from your ears. Keep that as you tuck the chin in, and then roll the head to the left. Come back through center, relax for a moment, feel that. Shoulders press down, slide away, chin tucks in, and then roll to the other side. Really keeping the shoulders pulling down. Back through center, and again, relax and just take a couple moments there. You might rock the head a bit from side to side. Beautiful. Okay, from here, let's roll over to our left side. Bring your knees right together. You could put a prop between them. Make sure you've got a nice little natural curve in your low spine. And you want to think about the knees being right in line with the hips, heels in line with the knees. So it's like a little 90-degree angle. And then reach your right arm up and open into a twist. So when we come in this way, the focus is a little more on stretching the front of the chest. So your arm may not touch the ground, and that's fine if it doesn't. You might experiment with having your elbow bent, okay? There shouldn't be any tingling in the hand here. So just experiment a little bit, looking for that place where it feels like a nice stretch along the chest and along the spine too, but it shouldn't hurt, okay? And I'm just moving my arm a little bit. So I'm just reaching it up, sort of over my head. I can reach it farther open to the right, just moving nice and slow, not really with a right or wrong kind of here, but just experimenting a bit with where does the stretch feel really nice in my shoulder and chest. Really good. And then we'll gently come back through center, and then we'll roll over to the second side. And again, knees roughly in line with the hips, nice natural curve in the low back. Left arm goes up and then open. And I'm just holding my knees with my right hand. I want to keep them strictly together, but roughly together. And then again, I can experiment a bit. So the two sides might be different. Different things might feel good on this side. So just noticing how far the arm wants to go. If you want to play with a bent elbow, if you want to maybe try reaching your arm up, you could be moving it around a bit or just being still. Nice. And then we'll gently return to laying on our side and then onto the back. Hug your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a nice little squeeze, a little rock from side to side. Okay, hold on to your knees with your hands. And let's start by taking a circle with the knees together. So we're just going to move them to the right and away, across to the left, and then back in. So just taking a nice little circle along the sacrum with the knees together, and then reverse the direction of the circle. So this should feel like a little bit of a massage on the lower back. This is kind of a sweet one. And then take the knees apart with your hands and away, and we can kind of circle this way. So they're just moving apart and then together again. Take your time. I'm just allowing the knees to be apart for a little bit longer because there's a nice little bit of a groin and inner thigh stretch there. And then you can reverse the direction of the circle. Just a little hello to the hips. It's nice for the lower back too. Lovely. And then let's take the legs up to the sky. Knees could be bent for sure. Arms can go up as well, and we can circle the wrists and the hands. And the feet, sorry, I said that wrong. the ankles, and then reverse the circle. Just spreading the fingers and the toes a little bit. You might hear some pops and cracks, which is great. And then we'll release that, draw the knees into the chest, and we're going to make our way up to a seat. So you can rock and roll forward and back if you're comfortable, or just roll to one side. And let's take a nice comfortable seat. So I'm just sitting up on a low block. And do grab your dowel if you've got one, or strap. And simple cross-legged is fine. You can also have your legs extended. Whatever works for you in terms of the seat is fine for now. Cross-legged is kind of the easiest place to be here. So let's do our little shoulder core. So this is really, really helpful for me when my shoulders are bugging me. And it's a little harder than it looks. So you're going to take your prop and just hold it around the level of your forehead. So your palms are facing in and you're holding it about shoulders distance apart. Okay, so the trick is you're pulling the prop apart, but you're also trying to keep your elbows in together. Shoulders plug down the back, and then we inhale and lift up any amount. Exhale and lower down. That's it. So we're going to keep pulling the prop apart and hugging the elbows in together. So you want to keep the elbows right underneath the wrists, lifting and lowering. With the breath. So this is one that I learned from a physiotherapist. It's not a classical yoga pose, but man, does it help my shoulders. Yeah, it really works those tiny little muscles in the shoulders, which is why I think of it as shoulder core. Let's try for 2 more. And 1. So good, you guys. Gently release your prop. Just take it to the side for a moment. Let your hands relax beside you or onto your lap, and just notice what your shoulders do. I always find that mine just open a little bit after I've been in that for a few breaths. And then you can take your prop around behind you. So I'm just holding my dowel with my palms facing forward. If you don't have a prop, you can interlace your fingers, okay? And then press the prop down, hug the elbows together, and then imagine that you're trying to pull the prop apart so that you should feel this hopefully in your chest. You can stretch your hands a little bit away from you, and you can play with how far apart you want your hands to be. They could be closer together or far apart, it's fine. Okay, and then from here, tuck your chin in gently. And then bring your right ear over towards your right shoulder. And then you might pull a little bit on the right hand. So the prop moves slightly to the right. Good, up through center and then to the other side. So slight tuck of the chin. Ear moves over to the left, and then you might explore pulling the left shoulder a little, sorry, pulling the left hand a little to the left. Just allowing the prop to move that way slightly. Beautiful. And then come back through center. And again, just relax for a moment. Notice any effects. Let's roll the shoulders. Beautiful. Okay. And then reach both arms up and then bend your right elbow. Hold on to it with your left hand, press up into it. Draw the ribs back slightly, and then you can add a little bit of a side stretch, moving over towards the left. And then gently release that, reach the arms up, let them come all the way down just for a beat, noticing the difference. And then we'll come up to the other side. So reaching up, left elbow bends, hold on to it. Press up into it, think ribs down. And you can stay here or add just a little bit of a side stretch, leaning to the right. Beautiful. Come back through center. Gently release the hands, let them rest. And then we'll take a little twist. So if you are cross-legged, you might just want to switch which leg is on top. If you're sitting on your heels, you can stay there. That's perfect. Okay, so we're going to take a twist, but we're just going to do it with a little bit of focus on the shoulder. So I'm mirroring you in a twist that can get a little confusing. We'll do both sides. Don't worry too much about it, okay? So we'll take the right hand across to the other side. You could hold shin or knee, whatever's comfortable for you. And then reach the left arm out to the left, fingers spread, and then just gently begin to rotate, opening the shoulder. So your spine is twisting, you're nice and tall, but you're also just gently stretching that arm back. So I'm hoping you get a little stretch in the shoulder chest here as well. And then you can experiment a bit. So maybe reaching the arm up, that's a slightly different experience in the shoulder. Maybe the arm comes down a little bit. Maybe the palm turns slightly up or down. And just seeing where's the place where you feel like, oh, that's a nice stretch. That feels good. That's what I'm here for. Beautiful. And then we'll gently come back through center. And just again, relax for a moment. Notice the two sides. And then we'll take the second side. So your left hand comes across, holding on to whatever is handy. And then take the right arm to the right to start, palm open, fingers spread, and then just slowly opening. So yes, we're twisting in the spine, of course, but I just want to focus a bit on the chest, shoulder. And then again, experiment a bit. So you can reach the arm up a little or down. My goodness, this side is so much tighter for me. So you know how we often get that pain in the upper back, sort of in between the shoulder blades. It's really common to feel pain there. The reason is actually because the chest is tight. It's not that the back needs to stretch, it's actually the front. And those muscles are kind of pulling the shoulder blades apart, and that's why we're getting the sensation there. But when we can open up the chest, it often actually relieves the upper back. So that is a little, the more you know, kind of a moment. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, let's gently come back. And again, just notice. Yeah, so nice. Beautiful. Okay, let's come to our hands and our knees. So you can move your prop out of the way. You might want to shake your legs out, especially if they have been cross-legged for a while. I am taking my socks off because, you know, I might need my feet. So coming to our hands and our knees, or fists and knees is fine. Let's take a few cat and cows. So just kind of noticing the work that we've been doing here. Noticing what may have shifted, what feels like it's a little bit more open, what feels like it needs a stretch. And if you're craving a downward dog, you could add that here. Downward dog is one of those poses that, you know, you hate it for 10 years of yoga, and then you start to love it after a while. Maybe not 10 years, but at first it's quite uncomfortable. But once you get used to it, once you kind of find your way of doing downward dog, it can be really quite lovely. And for me, some of the secrets of that were a little bend in the elbows, so the shoulders are nice and deep. Little bend in the knees too, and I'm really working my weight back towards my legs. Okay. Let's bring the knees down if they're not already. And we're just going to do a very mild little bit of core here. Okay. So you're going to walk your hands a little bit farther forward. And then bring your hips back to your heels. So toes tucked under if your knees will tolerate that. And then draw your belly in. So we've talked about this many times in this class. Pelvic floor draws in and up. belly button scoops towards the heart, and then you're just going to come forward into a little half plank until you feel a little resistance in the core. And then you're just going to pull back and repeat that, okay? So we're drawing in pelvic floor, belly button draws in and up. So we're really working from the transverse. And then we're just going to that place where it feels like, okay, yeah, I'm holding myself up a little bit with my core here. And then we're going to press back. Okay, so I don't really care what this looks like. I just want you to notice that your abdominal muscles are working. So it's just that place where you've got a little bit of something happening there. Okay, if you're feeling like this is really easy and you want a little bit more, you can do it with your knees off the ground. It looks a little bit different. Heels lift and come forward into sort of a full plank, but it's that same feeling of where is that resistance point and just being there for a moment, and then from the belly pressing back. Okay, that's obviously a bit different for the shoulders and wrists, so find the place that works for you.
Julie, do we relax the core on the way back?
You can. Yeah, you can. Especially sort of here, like when you're on your hands and your knees, you don't really need it so much at this place. And it can be nice to kind of release and then reconnect. That's a good question. Thanks, Mike. If you're doing the downward dog version, you would kind of use the core to press yourself back. But once you're in downward dog, you can release a little bit and then reconnect. Just take one or two more. If you're feeling like that's enough and you want to be in child's pose, that's fine. And if you're again feeling like you want a bit more, let's just hold. Okay, so next time you're in the plank, high or low, just stay there. And you want to be in that place where you do feel that little bit of resistance for your core. Try to draw the shoulders onto the back so we're not stressing out the shoulders here. And we're just going to breathe. Tailbone is long. And release. Let's take child's pose. Nice work, you guys. Knees can be wide. You might want to take your hands beside your hips and circle the wrists a couple times. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath here. And then we're going to make our way towards the top of the mat. So you can come through your downward dog if that's comfortable for you, or your hands and your knees, and just walk your feet up towards your hands. And then come into your standing forward fold. And then make your way to standing. So you can do that by rolling up really slowly. Or you can come up in one breath, keeping your spine nice and neutral. Either way, think about using your core to support your back as you rise. Let the shoulders roll onto the back and just take a moment to feel. So we've been doing some work in the kind of neck, upper back region, abdominal region, just seeing how that's translating in your standing. And we're going to take a sequence called Hridaya Namaskar, the Heart Salutation. I haven't taught this one in a while, so I hope I remember it. But it's a really lovely sequence that's quite accessible, and it allows us to move a little bit more dynamically. Okay, so just follow me. We're going to soften the knees a little bit, hook the thumbs in front of you, and then reach forward and up, opening the arms to the sky. Exhale, release the hands around behind your back. Interlace the fingers or hook the thumbs again there. Press the fist down, lift your heart up. Exhale, bend the knees, fold down over your legs. Take a halfway lift so the heart moves forward and the fists come back. And then bring your fingertips down to the floor, or you could put them on blocks. And as you next inhale, float your right leg any amount off the ground. And as you exhale, put the foot down behind you, knee down behind you, so it's a low lunge. Good. Hook the thumbs again, come back up into your low lunge, reaching the arms to the sky. And then release your hands to either side of your front leg onto the blocks or the floor. Straighten out that leg. Flex the foot. I'm untucking my back toes. And then we take 3 breaths here. So we lengthen on the inhale, and then we melt. Following your own breath. One more. Beautiful. Okay, and then we look forward. On the exhale, bring your front foot back to meet your back one. Toes tucked under if your knees tolerate that. Stick your bum up and slightly back. Walk your fingertips forward and a little wide and melt your heart to the earth. So this is Anahatasana or melting heart pose. You want to feel like your heart is tractioning back towards your legs. So your bum is lifted, but it's closer to your heels than to your hands, I guess is a way of saying that. Take a nice deep breath here. Inhale again, and then as you exhale, come all the way to your belly. Point your toes and take your fingertips wide to the right and to the left off your mat. Okay, lift the heart up as you inhale. And as you exhale, gently come down. Inhale, rise up. And as you exhale, look to the left. You can dip your right shoulder towards the earth. Inhale up through center. And then go the other way. So look right and you can dip the left shoulder if that feels good. And then come up through center. Release to your belly. Let's take a little breath here on the belly, just softening. Beautiful. Okay, from here, find your hands by your low ribs and make your way back to downward facing dog if you can. You can do hands and knees if you prefer as well, okay? And then your right leg is going to go up towards the sky any amount. And this again could be on hands and knees. I'm opening the hips here because I find that feels good. And then we'll step the foot forward into a low lunge. Yeah. So the back knee comes down, we hook the thumbs, reaching up. And then straighten out that front leg, bring the hands down onto the blocks or the floor. Flex that front foot, and we take 3 breaths here. So really take your time. Lengthening on the inhale. And as you exhale, there's a little melt. Lengthen. Melt. One more. Nice. Okay, and then look forward. As you exhale, bend into the front leg. And then on your inhale, your back leg, your left leg is going to float to the sky. That's it. And then on the exhale, both feet come to the floor. Nice work. Bend the knees a lot. Hook your thumbs. Come all the way up. Beautiful. And then interlace the fingers around behind your back. So we're halfway through. Okay. Press the fist down. Lift the heart up. Inhale. Fold down as you exhale. Halfway lift. Heart forward, fist back. And then release the hands to the ground. Left leg rises to the sky any amount. Step the foot back and lower the knee down. Hook the thumbs, come up through your low lunge. Nice work, you guys. Straighten your front leg, bring the hands down. We'll take 3 of those heart breaths here so the heart lifts on the inhale and melts on the exhale. We've got a little bit of a bend in the front leg. Nice. And then we'll look forward on the inhale. Front foot steps back. Anahatasana. So toes are tucked under if possible, fingertips come forward, and the heart is melting down. So your fingertips are supporting, but there's not really much weight on them. Okay, you could have your chin or forehead down. And just imagine your heart is trying to get between your legs. Maybe a little sway from side to side there. Okay, inhale, and then as you exhale, come all the way to your belly. Point your toes, fingertips off the mat. Lift as you inhale. As you exhale, lower. Good. Lift as you inhale. Look right. You might dip your left shoulder down. Up through center. And then look to the left and you could dip your right shoulder. Good. Up through center. Let's come down. Take a moment just to relax on your belly. And then when you're ready, find your hands. Press yourself back to downward dog or hands and knees is perfect. Left leg will rise up to the sky. And then step it through as you exhale. Low lunge. Hook the thumbs, come on up. Beautiful. And then straighten your front leg. Bring the hands down. 3 breaths here. Last time. Nice. And then we'll look forward, bend into that front leg. Lift up the back knee, and the whole back leg is going to lift to the sky. On an inhale, take your time. And on the exhale, both feet come down to the earth. That's it. Hook your thumbs. Rise all the way to standing. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the hands to the heart. And just take a moment to feel that. Beautiful. Okay, so let's take a couple of pieces of that and we'll just slow it down a little bit. And we'll kind of make our way back down to the earth from there. So soften your knees a little, hook your thumbs again. Reach your arms up just as we did. But this time, keep the knees soft and just curve over to one side. Ribs draw in a little. Up through center and over to the other side. Up through center, release the hands, interlace the fingers. And if you'd prefer to use your prop for this, we'll just be in it a little bit longer. So if you're more comfortable with a strap or dowel behind you, feel free to use that instead. Hug the elbows, press the fist down, lift the heart up. Okay, on an exhale, fold forward. So generous bend to the knees, let the fists rise, let the head relax. And again, here, you can stay or bend one knee at a time and just allow your chest to roll gently from side to side. Massaging the chest. Beautiful. Through center, hands come down the backs of the legs towards the earth. Lengthen up halfway and then step your right foot behind you. Bring down your knee and feel free to pat it. Again, we're going to be here just a little bit longer. Hook your thumbs and come into that low lunge. So hug the inner thighs a little bit, press your hips forward, lengthen, and then you might try side bending a little to the left. So that's away from your back leg. Come up through center, release the hands, step forward, and we're just going to switch legs. So the left leg is going to come back. We'll bring it down, again, onto some padding if you like. Hook the thumbs and come up. Hips are squaring, tailbone down, we're lengthening. And then you could add that little bit of a side stretch to the right. Awesome. And then up through center, gently release. And this time step back. And we're going to take that Anahatasana again. So toes are tucked under. Walk the fingertips forward, melt your heart. And again, you can try a little rock from side to side here. Beautiful. Let's come back into child's pose. Settle into child's pose. Hands could be wherever they're comfortable, including resting beside the hips. And just take a moment to feel that. Beautiful. Okay. And then from here, let's come up to a seat. And then we're going to adjust to laying on our side. So I think this is going to work for what I want to do, but we'll just give it a try. So if you have a bolster and a second prop of some kind, I'm going to encourage you to try using it for this. If it doesn't work for you, don't worry about it. Or if you don't have props, you can just lay on your side. So I'm coming onto my left side, and I'm just going to have the bolster under my waist and the left arm in the gap between the two props. Okay, so it's just a little bit more of a supported side bend. When I am having a lot of shoulder pain, I actually sleep like this with a pillow here and a pillow here. Helped me a lot when I was pregnant too. Just couldn't get comfortable. So again, if you don't have any of these props, that's fine. You can just lay on your side, okay? We're gonna do just a little bit of butt core because I know we need it, okay? And then we're gonna do a little shoulder stretch here as well that you might really like. So we're just gonna activate the feet. I've got the knees together, just slightly down, so they're not pointed straight forward, okay? And we're gonna do our little wave clamshell. So we're opening the knees, lifting the foot, bringing the knees together, and then the feet come together. Okay, lift, lift, lower the knee, lower the foot. Yeah. So you might find it interesting doing this with the props. I'm finding for myself, it's actually forcing me to keep my hips a little more square. So I'm actually getting just a little more juice out of this one, which is nice. Good, keeping the foot active. Let's try for 3 more. Okay, and then relax. You can take your soft fist and just pad out that outer hip a little bit as you like. And then snug the knees in a little bit closer to you. You still want to have the natural curve in your lower back. Straighten out that top leg, but let the toes stay on the ground. Take your top arm over your ear and take a nice little side stretch. Good. Okay, bring the knees together, hands together. And then open the arms like a book. So the right arm opens to the sky and then roll open. So this is very similar to the twist we did earlier. We're just a little elevated if you're using the prop, so you might feel even more of a stretch in your shoulder. And just as we did before, explore and enjoy that. So the arm might go up a little bit, might come down. You might explore bending the elbow, just finding that place that feels really nice. So my intention here is that this should feel pretty good. And I'm just trying to keep my knees together. I'm not letting the hips super roll open. Okay, and then I often like to come out of this shape by rolling onto my back so that my shoulders actually kind of drop into that little space between the props, and I'll take soles of the feet together, knees open wide for a moment. I'm a little asymmetrical here. We're just going to be here for a couple breaths. And then we can roll to the other side. So I'm actually going to roll to my first side so that I can readjust. And depending on how long your props are, you may need to do the same. So I'm laying on my right side now. Hopefully that's okay with my mic there on my right ear. Got a little natural curve in the lower back. Knees are just slightly pointed down. Feet are flared. And we'll take our little clamshell. So knee lifts, foot lifts, knees together, feet together. Yeah, just going nice and slow. So knees open, then the foot lifts, then the knees come down, then the foot. Good. So it's like a little wave form or something. Just really nice therapy for the lower back. I know a lot of us really benefit from the outer hip strengthening, even though I know it's hard. For 3, 2, and 1. Nice work, you guys. Relax. You can pat out the hip if you like. And then we'll take that little bit of a stretch. So you can take the top leg, reach it all the way down, let the toes land on the floor, take your top arm over your ear. And then bring the knees together, hug them in a little closer, but keep the lower back curve neutral. Left arm opens and take your nice twist. And again, just exploring where does it feel like a nice stretch in my chest. Elbow might be bent or straight. Maybe you're moving, maybe you're just still in a place that feels good. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, gently roll back. And you might, for a couple of moments, roll to your back so that your shoulders are in between the two props with the soles of the feet together and the knees open wide. And you might just need to adjust a little bit so that you're supported. Beautiful. Okay, and then from here, when you're ready, so if you feel like you need to stay, you can. And actually, the pose that we're going to take next is thread the needle, which you could technically do here. It's a little, let's try it actually. Some of you might like it. It's going to be a little bit different this way. So you can take the soles of the feet to the floor and then take your right ankle onto your left thigh. And you can stay there, or you can try holding on to the back of the leg with your hands. So what this does is it tilts the pelvis back a little bit, so it might be more intense. It might also be impossible or just not feel good at all. So if it's not working for you, just come off your props. lay on your back. And take the regular thread the needle here. And if you're quite tight in the hips, you might actually like to have your low prop under your bum, because that will curl the tailbone towards you. It'll just give you a little more gravity on your side. But the idea is that we're feeling a stretch in the outer hip. So however you're achieving that without pain in the knee is fine. Beautiful. Okay, we'll gently release that. You can wash your knees side to side like windshield wipers. And then come to the second side, left ankle to right thigh. And gently hold on. Keeping your foot flexed. Maybe rocking a little from side to side. And then again, gently release. And you can take the windshield wipers. Okay, and then see if there's something left that you need before Shavasana. So I often like happy baby after thread the needle. If there's a forward fold or something that you need, please feel free to take that. And if you're still on the props and that's feeling really good, you're welcome to stay there for Shavasana. Okay. Another thing that you can do if you have your two props there is just kind of spin around and take your legs over the props instead. So a lot of people like the bolster underneath the knees for Shavasana. If you have a long enough prop, you could even have your heels on a prop there. Put on your layers, whatever you need. Get nice and comfortable. And rest. Allowing your body to soften. Your breath to slow down. And to receive. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling right now. To deepen your breath, bring some small movements into your body. Maybe rolling your head, maybe a stretch. Drawing in your knees and eventually rolling over to one side. And then rising to your seat and bringing your hands together at your heart or over top or wherever feels right for you. And then gently bow your mind to your hands, taking a moment to honor and acknowledge the work that it took for you to show up to your practice today, whatever that practice looked or felt like. To honor and acknowledge the long and complex lineage of teachers that are with us in our practice. And to honor the land that we practice on. Thank you for sharing your practice.